It is Monday, September 15th.
This is The Warning.
A terrible weekend has ended in the United States of America. It was a weekend with calls for revenge, retribution, for collective guilt, and we saw a president of the United States and his political faction attempt to use the murder of a young man, a disciple of their movement, as the occasion to force submission on the whole of the American people regarding their ideas. There are scores and tens of millions of us in this moment who will not be intimidated and will not be bullied into the acceptance of their vile ideas and their movement, which is un-American. It is un-American because Donald Trump is a fascist. I use that word deliberately, I use it accurately, and I use it precisely. Only a fascist would ever threaten an American city the way that Donald Trump threatened it. He has incited violence more times than I could possibly share with you on this video. He hasn't done it dozens of times. He hasn't done it hundreds of times. He and his supporters have done it thousands of times over 10 years. In fact, after Donald Trump incited a coup, yes, this is a coup, and yes, this is violence, Donald Trump and his fascist movement declared this was peaceful, and it never happened. And every criminal that was there, he pardoned. And now those criminals, in the aftermath of an assassination, who tried to overthrow the government, have announced their position. And their position is that the guilty party is not the shooter. It's all of us who think they're criminals for trying to overthrow the government. You see, there has been an announcement made that if you don't love Trump, then you're guilty of the murder of Charlie Kirk. Your finger may not have been on the trigger, but it might as well have. In this world, it's possible for Mrs. Kirk, bereaved, and our heart breaks for this young mother of two young children who will not grow up with their father. But at the same time, while we grieve, we must reject what it is that she said, which is that somehow every American who disagrees with the vile things her husband believed in is guilty in a collective act of murder.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. And this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
The shooter was a Utah man from a MAGA family who grew up in gun culture. And whatever broke inside of him, not inside of all of us. And so it is important in this moment to remain fixed on some things that are deeply true. The Black church plays an enormously important role in centering and grounding our nation in a moral space.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated. But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half-staff calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land.
It is grotesquely inappropriate that American flags have been ordered lowered to half-mast across the country by a man, a sick man named Trump, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, who would not lower the flag for a deceased president of the United States named Jimmy Carter, who objected to the lowering of the flag for John McCain. Charlie Kirk is the symbol of a movement and a faction. Charlie Kirk had convictions that I find loathsome and I held as deeply un-American. They are not the values of our nation. They are the beliefs of a fascist. And because fascism and cowardice have come into conflict in the aftermath of this assassination, the cowards have mandated that we must bow to the fascists lest we be accused of altogether being murderers. And I reject it. I reject it fully, and I reject it absolutely. My words speak for themselves. My position is perfectly clear, as is the position of millions of Americans. We reject violence absolutely and completely. It is why we oppose the Trump regime, and it's why we were appalled by the ministry of Charlie Kirk. Sophists at the New York Times and others have taken to their keyboards to write long screeds that indict themselves for no crime at all. And they sentence themselves to saying things that they don't believe and they know are not true. For 10 long years, step by step, the danger has come closer. And now that we are at the edge of an abyss, let us not pretend that there was no warning. And let us not pretend that in a debate in this country about what we are to be and where we are to go, that there are two equally opposed violent sides. There is no equivalence between some anonymized whack job in their mother's basement tapping away on their ex account and the words of the President of the United States. And that there is an argument made from the White House that there is only evidence of the idiocracy that we live in. I leave you with what Stephen Miller, the fascist, declared. He's coming for all of us. According to Stephen Miller, Donald Trump's opponents spent the weekend calling for peace. Donald Trump and his allies spent the weekend threatening war, predicting violence, stoking it, curating it, and then blaming it on the side that mourns the loss of a young man, but not like MAGA wishes at the point of a gun and on our knees venerating Donald Trump.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.